This is Rummy's Corner. Am I the only one who thought the fight should have been ruled a draw? As it turned out, Devin Haney defended the undisputed lightweight crown, officially winning a 12-round unanimous decision against Vasyl Lomachenko. There has been a lot of debate over the verdict, which is common these days whenever we have a close and competitive contest. For my take, I thought it was a very intense high-level chess match between two super clever boxers, both of whom know how to box effectively, even against another high-level operator. They both proved that to me beyond reproach in their fight. Most of the rounds were very close and competitive with very little separating the two. You had Haney mixing up his attacks, where he was landing a nice variety of crunching blows downstairs, and you had Lomachenko studiously looking to get himself into a position where he has that amazing ability to manufacture those tricky angles and speedy combinations. Both of these guys were having effective moments. And if you break each round down to a dozen or so mini battles, Haney and Lomachenko were each typically winning at least a handful of those mini battles, with the rounds largely being decided by the other few. In other words, neither guy was allowing the other to build any real momentum. In that sense, the rhythm and momentum of the bout reminded me an awful lot of the fight between Juan Manuel Marquez and Marco Antonio Barrera, where every round was competitive. In that instance, I believed Marquez was edging most of the rounds. In this case with Haney and Lomachenko, I believe Haney was edging most of the earlier rounds in the contest. And indeed, I thought Haney was edging most of the rounds through 2/3. But later in the fight, we saw on full display why Lomachenko is viewed as such an exceptional talent, and the tide seemed to start shifting a bit during round 9. And if there were two no-doubt rounds in this fight, they were rounds 10 and 11. And these were rounds, especially the 11th, where Lomachenko's championship heart and considerable skills and smarts were all being exhibited under the big spotlight. For the first time in the fight, someone had seized command of the action and built a little real momentum. And Lomachenko had Haney looking mighty confused and uncertain. To his credit, Haney rebounded well in the 12th and final round. But even here, I thought Haney was still the one who looked to be a little more outside his comfort zone for most of the final round. At the end of 12 rounds, I thought for sure this one had a draw written all over it, but it was a unanimous decision win for Haney, and I am not a judge, and I certainly cannot complain about the verdict. Had it been scored in favor of Lomachenko, I'd have had no complaints either. It was close and competitive, and for my taste, it was a very engaging viewing experience between two elite prize fighters. I personally think a draw would have been the correct call, but again, I am not a judge, and I am just thankful we got the fight. I applaud the efforts of both Haney and Lomachenko, and I believe they put on a damn fine show, a wonderful display in the art of the sweet science from both boxers. And in the end, the one peculiar round 10 card by Moretti in favor of Haney wound up being inconsequential to the verdict. I'd personally love to see a rematch. Not sure if that's in the cards, and if it isn't in the cards, I personally think Lomachenko might want to consider a return to 130, assuming he can still make the weight. But then again, if Haney moves up to 140, then the prospect of seeing Lomachenko go up against someone like Gervonta Davis or Shakur Stevenson, those are still fights I would personally love to see. If Haney can stay at 135, then I would be very interested in seeing him either have a rematch with Lomachenko or see him square off against Tank or Shakur. If he moves to 140, it will be interesting to see how his style translates 5 pounds north. In a previous episode, I speculated about whether or not the Dream is the future of American boxing. I'm perhaps less convinced now than previously. I am not entirely sure exactly how Haney would match up against Tank or Shakur. I had speculated that I thought Haney might have that special something in the mold of the great Bernard Hopkins or the great Andre Ward. But there was a look of panic in Haney's expression prior to the start of round 10 that actually reminded me a lot of Shane Mosley. I'm referring to his first bout with Vernon Forrest, where Shane looked helpless and clueless when it came to how to cope with Forrest's surgical-like methodical execution. The fact that this happened right before Lomachenko went on his best run, the best run in the fight, Haney sensed something going into that 10th round that he didn't like. And I didn't think his corner did him any favors in his moment of need. Regardless of whether Haney stays at 35 or jumps up to 40, I think he could really use a new corner. Perhaps someone from the old main event's Benton lineage, which included guys like Bloodworth and Shields. I think a new trainer with that style background would suit someone like Haney exceptionally well. But I'm less sold on Haney because he reminded me more of Shane and less of Bernard or Andre. And incidentally, I thought Andre Ward was exceptional in his commentating. His observations are astute, he knows his stuff, and he expertly expresses himself in a concise fashion that is easy to understand. And circling back, this is not a criticism of Shane Mosley, whom I believe is an all-time great. And it isn't meant to insult Haney either. But what I saw from Haney, I don't think he has that same impeccable will to win. That unwavering determination you see from guys like Bernard and Ward. There's no shame in that. And maybe I'm being unfair to Haney. He is young enough that he can potentially learn a lot from this fight. And with a better corner advising him, he might not lose confidence with that same deflated mannerism we saw just before Lomachenko started heating up. Mosley was still a great fighter, and Haney might yet prove to be so too. But that internal fortitude possessed by guys like Bernard Hopkins and Andre Ward, I'm not sure that is something that can necessarily be taught. It's the type of thing only a rare breed of championship caliber boxers have, and I am no longer convinced that Haney has that degree of potential. But then again, perhaps I'm selling Haney short. After all, even in defeat, this is perhaps the most impressed I have ever been with Lomachenko. He didn't start slowly in the same manner he did against Lopez, and he was up against a smooth operator in Haney. It was a great fight. I'd love to see them run it back, or I'd love to see either of them match up against Tank Davis or Shakur Stevenson. I thought it was a tremendous fight, and congratulations to Devin Haney on his victory, and best of luck to Haney and Lomachenko going forward. So what did you think? Please share your views in the comments section. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed, and have a wonderful night. This is Rummy's Corner.